any job that can be done online or on a computer or on a phone can be done by someone in the Philippines.
Wherever you feel fear, that's where
You've got to become the person that will attract over 200 different cognitive biases.
The real work in any business is thinking. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the NMPD podcast. We are so excited to have another amazing leader on the show today. My name is Cody DeGraff, and I'm here with my co-host, Gabriel Klingman.
What is up, and welcome. Today, we have Jonas. This is going to be a blast. Quick reminder, hit that subscribe button. Show him some love. Right back to you, Code.
Awesome. And yeah, as Gabe said, we are so excited because we have Jonas on the show today. Now, for those of you who don't know John, he is the definition of time is money. He teaches people how to utilize a virtual assistant, which we are so excited to learn about. He is also a phenomenal author, which we're going to be talking about his book, just some of his golden nuggets and wisdom that he has to share with us. John, how's it going, man? Thanks for being on the show today.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm doing really well today. Thanks.
Awesome. Really excited to have you. And
So what we like to do before we get started is we like to ask some icebreaker questions that are a little separate from the actual interview itself, the profound questions. So just to try to get to know you a little bit. So you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, awesome. So the first question is, do you prefer skiing or kayaking?
Skiing.
Skiing. Oh, yeah. You're up in Utah, right?
I'm in Utah, and I skied yesterday, and I'm skiing tomorrow, and I'm not skiing today only because we're doing this interview.
well, I appreciate you giving up the skiing tonight, dude.
For real. That's fantastic. What is your favorite and least favorite food?
My least favorite food is olives. That's the worst thing.
The green one?
Completely agree.
It doesn't matter. It's olives.
That's awesome.
My favorite food is really hard. I have such a stupid restrictive diet I'm lactose intolerant, so I don't eat any dairy at all. And I've had significant mercury poisoning.
Oh, whoa.
And I know, totally. It's something you don't hear a lot, but like really bad mercury poisoning. And so I don't eat any grains because it makes my brain, like grains make my brain go crazy. So like my favorite food would be like sweet potatoes.
That is so fascinating.
That is so fascinating.
Yeah.
If you could spend time with anybody, past, present, or future, who would it be? Just for one day.
That's a super easy one for me. That would be Jesus Christ.
Oh, you know what? I'm with you on that 100%.
Would you rather go scuba diving or skydiving? Oh, that's a reaction.
So I have scuba dived multiple times. I'm scuba certified, whatever. I just don't love it. I don't know, man. I always get sick when I come up to the top and I puke. But I've had chances to skydive, and hard no. Like,
Wow.
no, I'm not gonna.
Neither.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just go skiing, right?
Yeah,
All right.
skiing my house.
All right, so the final question is, run your business all by yourself or hire a virtual assistant?
I have 36 virtual assistants who work for me full time.
All right, well, thanks for answering those questions, man. And I'm going to let Gabe take over.
We like to start off these interviews and really get to know the person well. So what is your story? How did you get to where you are today?
So my magic is, and what I always tell people to do is hire a virtual assistant to do something that you know how to do and that you're currently doing in your business. The advice that most people give is do what you're good at and outsource the rest. And that, I think, is terrible advice for 95% of people, because like 5% of people are really good at making sales. And the other 95% aren't so good at it, but they're really good at doing social media, like doy. And so outsource your sales, but keep doing social media. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You should outsource your social media and figure out how to make sales, because you're going to be the best at sales, not someone else. So for me, the first thing I ever outsourced was something that I was doing, and I taught a virtual assistant how to do it for me. And I got that thing off of my plate. It took like a month, but I got that task off of my plate and I moved on to something else. And then I did it again. And then I did it again. And then I realized, oh, I need 2 VAs. And then I hired a programmer to replace me I graduated in computer science as a programmer, and I was doing the programming in my business, and I hired a programmer and was like, oh, well, now that I'm not doing programming, I guess I could do marketing, which I just couldn't do it before, right? Like, it just wasn't a thing because there wasn't time. So I had 2 VAs working for me at the time. This is 2008. How old is she? She's 13. 2007, 2008. And I'd had these VAs working for me for 18 months, 2 years, and my wife is 7 months pregnant with our 3rd daughter, and she goes into the doctor and he says to her, you have preeclampsia. And if you don't go on strict bed rest for the next 3 to 5 weeks, you're going to go into seizures and you're going to lose this baby. And that was obviously like a shock to me. Like, I have 2 other kids at the time, and all I knew is I'm not about to lose a baby over money. My wife's not going to work for my wife's going to be down. I'm not going to work for the next 3 to 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. And so I was like forced into the 4-hour work week. Like, I got home and I sent an email to the 2 guys in the Philippines and told them, like, hey, here's the situation. I can't work. Here's why. Here's what I need you to do. And for the next 3 weeks, while my wife was on strict bed rest, they did everything I had previously been doing in my business. Wow. And that was so eye-opening, because it was like, I thought that they could only do menial tasks. So I had given them a lot of training, but I had kept so much on myself. And then all of a sudden I'm forced to give it up. In 3 weeks, they took it over. And it was like, oh, everything still happened. So after 3 weeks, my wife had the baby, a beautiful little girl, healthy. Everything was awesome. It was so awesome. Well, for the next 2 months, my wife struggled after having the baby. And so I kept not working, and I spent 2 more months not working. And these guys in the Philippines kept running my business for me. And that was like the eye-opening experience. Like, oh, wow, a virtual assistant, which is what we call them, isn't some brain-dead robot who can only follow exact detailed instructions. No, like, they're capable of doing thought work, and they can do your Google AdWords for you, which is what they were doing for me. And they can manage your blog like they were doing for me. And they can do some marketing stuff. They took over all this crap that I was doing. So that was my story of like, oh, I'm living the 4-hour work week. It's a complete accident, but it's real. And I never went back to full-time work after that.
That is so amazing, dude. That is so awesome. So let's kind of dive into this. I mean, you've kind of touched on it a little bit as well. So what exactly does a VA do? I know that you kind of mentioned a few different things, but can you just walk me through this process? How essential a VA can actually be to a business?
Let me tell you what my current situation is, and then I'll then we'll redefine this question. So my current situation is, I think I have 36 people in the Philippines that work for me full time. And that started with 1. I hired 1, and then I got him busy full time, and then I hired another one, and then we realized, like, oh, I need another person. So, and that started in 2005. I hired my first VA in 2005. So it's been one after another as I've needed it, right? And so in those 36 VAs, I have a whole bunch of customer support people and admin people, like people that do data security for our website, or that verify employers, or that verify workers, or people that look at data that we have and make sure that things are correct, right? Then I have 4 or 5 programmers full-time. I have a couple designers full-time. I have a front-end, like HTML web builder people. I have a couple, I don't even know, 2, 3, 4 social media people. I have content writers. I have a couple of people that manage and do some of that stuff, like people that manage content and people that manage social media. I have an HR girl. I don't know if I said that. I have people that write content for me. I have a copywriter that just writes sales copy. So when you ask, like, what does a VA do in a business? Well, like I said, we call them virtual assistants, but really it's a programmer, or it's a graphic designer, or it's a user interface designer, or they are a social media marketer, or a customer support rep, right? So what can a virtual assistant do? Well, the thing that I always say is any job that can be done online or on a computer or on a phone can be done by someone in the Philippines.
That's so amazing.
That's
A
fantastic.
revolutionary concept. That's wild.
That's fantastic. With that being said, how much time do you think an average VA saves a business owner?
Saves is an interesting thing because saves isn't necessarily what an assistant will do, because most business owners just take that time and put it into doing more work themselves. So if you're working 60 hours a week, you hire a VA, they're going to do some stuff for you. You're going to work 60 hours a week. You're going to fill your time. And I know a lot of people that do this where they've hired and then they just move on to the next thing. And that's what I did at first, up until I was forced to not and realize like, oh my gosh, there's such a better way to live. For me, an average VA probably saves me 8 hours per week. So like one day of work is what like I would have done. Here's the work that I would have done, and they're now doing that work for me. And I have to add a little bit of time because I have to manage them. And then but then they're doing more than the time that they would have saved me. So there's more work getting done and I'm saving some, and I probably moved on to doing something else, right? Mm-hmm. So that's, I mean, as an average, I'd say if you do it right, 8 hours a week.
Now, there is quite a crowd of people that follow us on this channel that would be in the network marketing industry. I don't know how familiar you are with that industry, but a lot of that industry requires a lot of sorting through people, so to speak, to see if these people want to be a part of their business. And a question that I was curious about is it possible to have your VA help sort through those people so that way you can spend the majority of your time with the right people instead of the wrong people? Have you ever heard of a concept like that maybe? Could that work?
So can you have a virtual assistant pre-filter network marketing leads? Absolutely. Could you teach your friend to filter network marketing leads? Yeah, right? That's completely reasonable. Could you have a virtual assistant generate the leads on the front end by contacting people on LinkedIn? Yeah. And then could they filter them on the next step? Yeah. So like hiring someone to do something like this isn't necessarily like, can someone do this? It's a matter of, are you willing to work with them until they can do it?
Yeah.
Because they can. Like if you can, and you can teach someone else to do it. And that's the thing that I always tell people, like hire someone to do something that you can teach them how to do, something you're currently doing, so you get some time back in your life.
Mm-hmm. And that seems like the long-term goal, right? Like it's difficult in the moment, in the present, but in the long term, that's when it's going to pay off. Yeah. So often people come to me and they're like, oh, like I thought this was, I mean, they don't say this, but like, I thought this was a magic bullet. Like I'm supposed to hire someone and they're just going to run things for me. And it's going to be like, they didn't do it perfectly the first time, so I fired them. Like, what, dude? Come on. Yeah, this is like you're hiring an employee, almost a lifetime employee, right? Someone that's going to stick with you forever. And they're $500 a month for full-time work.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, cool. Well, let's talk about your book. Because if I'm not mistaken, your book is actually for limited time offer for free right now on your website. And I want to remind people to go to onevaaway.com is your website. Is that right?
So I have two different things. Onevaaway.com is my training on how to hire someone. Like it's me walking you through my recruiting process of hiring someone. And this is like the best content I've ever created. In fact, I was so happy with it that I guarantee if you go through it and follow the process, you will find a great VA. And if you don't, I'll give you your money back. Yeah, I love One VA Way, and people love it. My book is called The Outsourcing Lever, and it's all about like hiring virtual assistants in the Philippines and how to work the 17-hour work week lifestyle, like I talk about, and how to hire people and why and what to have them do, and the whole, it's a more overview of the process. And that is outsourcinglever.com.
Now, I know that you mentioned the 4-hour work week. Now, do you have any other personal reads that have helped you along with your own business?
So I think that like one of the biggest things people will benefit from is learning copywriting. Copywriting, especially with an online business, but I mean, even in network marketing or in real estate, whatever. I feel like people would benefit from understanding human psychology and sales psychology and how to sell. And so one of the best things I've ever read is scientific advertising. Like such a dang good book about sales and sales psychology. And I mean, it's in the network marketing industry, it's perfect. Like he talks about this process of, boy, is this scientific advertising or is this Chet Holmes' book? It might be Chet Holmes. Dang, I told you I had mercury poisoning, and the mercury poisoning makes my brain, I don't remember. I have a period of my life where I don't remember almost anything. It's crazy.
That's probably why you're so well focused all the time, I assume.
Yeah, maybe. Because I can't. I multitask, not even a thing for me. That's not like.
Yes, I would actually love to have that. Maybe I have to get some mercury poisoning. Let me just say this to anybody watching. Do not get mercury poisoning for success.
I know he talks about like contacting people until they buy. Like that's his sales process. And I'm not saying that in the network marketing world you should contact people until they do it, right? Like that's like the epitome of the problem of the network marketing industry, right?
Yeah.
But there's just a bunch of stuff that, like, if you learn sales copywriting, it opens up a world to like, oh, I understand how the internet works better, how someone sells something. So yeah, I could do that, right? Well, right now, like, oh, I don't even know how to generate leads online. I don't even know what that means. So, but if you do, when you understand copywriting, yeah, it opens up a whole new world.
You know, it's so crazy too, because I don't know about you and how the pandemic has affected your business, but what you have is like pure gold for a pandemic. And I think we need more of that. I'm so excited to do this interview with you because what you have is not just present, it's future.
Yeah, everybody woke up to what I've been living for years and years. Everybody's working from home. Like, doy, I've been doing that since 2004. Of course, it's amazing. And then people realize, oh, wait a minute, you don't have to be in an office and it still works. Yeah. And you can hire really great workers on the other side of the world that, are $400 per month for full-time work. Yeah, it's really great.
So we only have 2 questions left for you, and these are going to be kind of out in left field. At least this one is. We like to end with this question. We're just take a moment. We're going to pretend you're on your last days, right? We're going to pretend that it's all coming to an end and you have your friends, your family around you. What is the last piece of advice that you want to leave them with?
It doesn't even need to be relative to what we've been talking about.
That's interesting because you find that when people are on their deathbeds, I mean, there's the quote, when someone's dying, nobody ever says, I wish I would have worked more, right? And people that know they're dying always get very pensive about their life and they start to apologize for things that they did wrong. And I have always been the type that looked to the future of like, well, I'll probably be smarter than or someone is older than me probably knows more than I do. So I should listen, right? So that thing for me would probably, I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ. I'm very religious, and I would probably say repent. Like, stop being mean to each other and just be nice, because that's really all that's going to matter after you die.
It's a sweet answer. That's amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
That's awesome. Well, the final question, I wish it wasn't the final one. The final question is, what's next? What is going on with your business and you in 2021?
So my biggest thing is, like, we have a really good thing going. Onlinejobs.ph is really, really good for hiring VAs. More people just need to know. And so that's why I wrote the book. That's why I created the One VA Away program, to make it easier for people to try and like maybe take a leap of faith and see, can I make this work for me? And so my goal in 2021 is to get my advertising to a place where I can spend money and have it return $0 to me. Like I don't want any return on the investment. I just want it to break even, so that I can just get it in front of more people, so that more people know, yeah, you can hire an amazing virtual worker in the Philippines. Because there's two sides to this. Number one, I see so much success in entrepreneurs doing this. It's ridiculous. And number two, we provide jobs to people who otherwise don't have jobs. And they're not like robots. These are human beings who are struggling, the Philippines is a disaster with COVID. Like people dying from starvation rather than dying from the virus. And the more jobs we can provide, the better off they are. And then what we find over and over and over again is not only does that provide jobs, and it doesn't ship jobs overseas, it actually creates jobs locally because businesses succeed and then they hire someone locally. So I would like to get this in front of as many people as I can so that it can become a household or like a mainstream idea.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. John, I really appreciate you coming on the show, man. It's amazing. And I just want to remind all of our viewers, check out the links in the description. We have the onevaaway.com just to check out their website and see the program. It's amazing that you're offering a total refund. It shows your confidence in the product itself. We're excited to check it out. I want people to pick up your book as well. That is also in the link in the description. Well, thanks, man, so much for coming on the show today. We really look forward to maybe talking with you again.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.